She's having an issue with. Let's see. Oh, there we go. And we're live. Welcome to the Rican Show. It's episode 45. And I have on one of my subscribers. I have on Sonia Scrapbook. And she has a very interesting Instagram page. If you don't follow her, you need to follow her. And welcome on. After all these years, I finally get you on.
Finally, hallelujah. Thank you for having me.
Oh, no. Thank you for coming on. Um, well, we were
I'll
having a
try not to
conversation.
ask you too many questions because that's my issue. I want to interview you.
Oh, you want to interview me? You can ask me all the questions. If I have an answer, I'll give them to you. Um, but I was just going to start. I wanted to touch basis on this because we were talking about it offline. I know you don't know a lot about this guy, but and I know a little bit. I've seen like videos and clips of his, and people are already demonizing him.
Never
His
heard of him.
yeah, his name is Javier Milei, and they're calling him the Donald Trump.
Hitler,
Oh yeah, they're calling him. Well, yeah, they're calling him the Donald Trump of Argentina.
Argentina. Mm.
And I mean, here you can see NPR, which NPR, people say it's supposed to be a neutral,
Liberal. No.
a neutral. It's supposed to be down the line, and it's
Wake
like,
up call for me was when I realized how many networks and organizations were so on the left, including
mhm,
PBS
yeah,
too.
well,
I didn't
yeah,
realize
well,
any of that.
yeah, it's like here, like NPR, they get government money, they get they,
Mhm.
they get taxpayer money, and here they are. Look, a radical libertarian populist elected president of Argentina.
And I wonder why they don't like the
Oh,
libertarians because
and
the
here, oh no,
libertarians are
what's
very
funny?
open-minded.
What's funny?
You
I'm
know,
just here looking like this is the edited article because let me see something. I'm gonna. Oh wait, I'm not even. I haven't showed the article yet. Hold up. I just want you to see this because you see how like the article says one thing here, and I don't know if people could see it over here. Let me make this a little bigger.
libertarian populist.
No, no, but look over here. It says here originally it said far right, right? It says here far right
Mm.
populist elected president of Argentina. So that was the original headline of the article.
And
But I
somebody
guess
said he's libertarian and they didn't know.
no, I think they just got
Mm.
roasted and they changed it.
I try not to do the same things that I hate that they do. For instance, I try to catch myself when I'm going to say far leftist
Uh
or
huh.
radical leftist or psycho or insane or whatever, name I can come up. I try not to do that. I won't call you an insane liberal if you don't call me a far right, whatever, you know.
You know what? Here's my standard. I go, if you're someone that you're on the left, but you agree with free speech, and you're not someone that attacks my free speech, then we're cool. But
Yeah,
if you're someone that's you know it's free speech when my group says it, but not your group, then no,
right.
because then I'm fighting a losing battle because if we can't, if you're allowed to speak but I'm not allowed to speak, then no.
Right.
I'll always
I
fight for
agree.
someone's right to to
Right.
speak their mind. But if you're not going to defend mine, then I'm definitely not going to defend yours.
And that's an interesting thing for me, aside from politics, before all of this, because I was always that way. I'm very opinionated and outspoken, and hard for me, to not give my opinion on things. So maybe don't ask, because I will give it to you.
Oh yeah.
So it was weird to me to find out how about the silencing and the cancel culture and all that nonsense, because I thought, I don't care how ridiculous you sound, or if I don't agree with everything you're saying from top to bottom, I want you to say it. I want to hear it because I got plenty to say in return. I mean, and I'm not afraid to say, uh, that I disagree or I think and not to persuade a person either. That's another thing. I'm not trying to convince anyone. I'm just letting you know how I see it. But I don't mind hearing how other people see it. So when I found out how the conversations weren't even allowed. I was like, oh no, you know, this is bad.
Yeah, no, I mean that's the part that gets me is I don't care if we don't have to see eye to eye. Look, my best friend and I, we've been best friends for 30 years, over 30 years. And she's still on the left and I'm on the right. But it doesn't matter. We know it's like she knows that I'm not a bad person. She doesn't, but here's the problem. Yes, she knows that, but there's too many people that because they don't know someone and you hear their politics, they'll right away go, "Oh, well, you're a right winger, so you're an evil, horrible person."
Well, that's interesting, and that's good that you're able to keep it that way. And now that you bring that up, I you just reminded me because I can't. It's not a best friend; it's actually a family member.
Mhm.
I try not to bring up anything about what's going on anymore because I realized that I was the black sheep early on, and it was really hard for me to, you know, I just want to keep the peace, right? And also because nobody's really saying anything to me personally about me. They're just talking. Let's say they'll say what they want about Trump, and they'll say what they want about what's going on. Let them say it. No one's asking me a direct question, so I just ignore it. But a family member recently, they were telling me something, in a text about something unrelated. And I don't know what it was that I said that I think I said I was tired of the winter and I wanted to go somewhere warm and I'm thinking about relocating down the line. And the first thing they said was, well, be careful, don't go to Texas. And I thought, okay, why? I was like, I got to hear what they're going to say next. And this family member said because they are um, going after people over there. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And then she sent me a link and it was about the abortion stuff. And the link was that there were some politicians in Texas, some far right conservatives who were actually either following or having private eyes follow people who were trying to take other people to get their
Oh my
abortions out
goodness.
of state. And I said, wait a minute, this sounds crazy. I have to look into this. I think there's something missing from what you're sending me. And what it
Oh,
was is that they were trying to fight them taking minors out of state to get an abortion, which I wholeheartedly agree with, because a minor shouldn't be going anywhere out of state without their parents' knowledge for any
I was
reason, much less an
I was gonna say,
abortion.
so funny. It's funny that you say Texas. Hold up. I think Christina. I don't see you. Let me just add. Let me see if I could add her. But I don't see her mic is not on. She needs to can't unmute your guest because they chose to mute themselves. Okay. Well, Christina's from Texas. She's part of a group called Luca, Latinos United for Conservative Action. So waiting. Christina, I see it unmuted.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can't see you, but I can hear you.
Okay, that's good.
another
Good, I'm
another
not
shy
alone.
person that doesn't want to be seen. Um, but no, it's funny that because Sonia was here talking uh, a friend. She was talking about wanting to move someplace warm, and
Uh-huh.
then she mentioned Texas, and then like her family member like went on this. I'm sorry to say this, but a crazy diatribe about private
Uh-huh.
eyes and following people about
Uh-huh.
abortion and
Yeah, I don't remember the words exactly, but it was something about be careful with Texas because they're infringing on people's rights or whatever over there. So I looked it up and it was about the minors being taken to another state to get an abortion, which I'm against, regardless.
yeah.
So, and then this person said to me, well, if I was pregnant and I didn't want my family to know, I wouldn't want my parents to know. And if I wanted to get an abortion, in other words, they would welcome this because it would be their way to get the abortion if it was banned in a state. I said, okay, well, let's just put the abortion debate on the side. What do you think would happen if you could just take minors out of the state like that and it was no big deal? So the man that got the girl pregnant could probably also take her out of state. I mean, it just gives more access to the predators and the people who are, getting these girls in trouble in the first place if it was
Mm.
some issue, like they always like to bring up the R word, right? What about if they, had that? Or another thing they like to say is the women's lives are in danger because they're not even allowing it if it's the mother's at risk, which is also not true. Those are
Well,
the
let me tell
excuses
you,
they
if you
come up.
decide to move to Texas, I lived there for 6 years, and I loved it out there. My wife got homesick. If not, we might still be out there. So, but
Okay, well, I wanted to know why you didn't stay, so you just answered it. She missed the.
usually that's the question. Whenever I say that I loved it down there, usually everyone asks, "Then
Mhm.
why did you move?"
Mhm.
And that's why we ended up moving.
But it's just so funny the different thought processes, right? Because when I think of Texas, even though they're having their issues and a lot of problems too, I think it's a free state, or where you can be, yourself. You can have your guns. You can.
Well, here's the problem. Hear what's going on in Texas, and I think Christina could vouch for this. The problem is, one, you have a lot of people moving into Texas. Like, you have people. I'm here moving from New York, but my politics are different. You have people moving from California. Those California people, man, let me tell you, they used to annoy the shit out of me. Because here you are, you're moving to the great state of Texas from the shit state of California,
Yeah.
and you're
Oh,
trying to
I'm sorry.
turn
I
you're
dropped
trying to
something.
turn Texas into California.
That is the most infuriating thing about all of this. And the same applies in New York and other places where they vote these policies in. And it's a broken record of how you don't like what's going on. You're actually here complaining about it, but you keep voting for these people. And then you have the nerve to leave and go someplace else and vote the same way.
Mhm.
It's just like mind numbing to me,
So, Christina, are you a native Texan?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me clearly?
Yeah, I can hear you clearly. So you born and
Yeah.
raised?
Born and raised all my life. Mom and dad, born and raised from Texas. So, yes, I understand what you're coming from. I
Well, no, you're in Richardson,
I'm in
right? In
Dallas.
Richardson, right?
I'm yeah, I'm in the Richardson School District. I'm in the city of I will live in the city of Dallas.
Okay. Yeah, no. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm like I said, I lived out there, so I remember.
So I'm
I don't
Lake
I don't know
Highlands
if you see
area,
it so much
Office
in
Central.
like the. I mean, well, Dallas is was blue anyway.
Right.
It's, most cities are blue anyway, but when I was living there, what was kind of annoying me was like the people from California moving to like Plano and Frisco, and they were coming from California and they were coming there, and it's like, I talked to them and they'd be complaining like, "Oh, well, we don't, in California, we had these parks and we had these walkways and we had these beaches." And it's like,
Hmm.
yeah, and you had a shit ton of taxes that you had to pay for all of that stuff with.
And then you ask yourself, then why'd you leave for? Just go back to your state.
Yeah,
You know.
100% agree. That's what I would, I remember. I remember hearing, what was the story
Yeah.
I heard? Someone had said something where the lady was talking to like a politician, and it could have been one of those like urban legends, but
Hmm.
that the lady was talking to the politician, and she told him, she's like, "Oh, there's no place for my kids to go play, and there's no bike paths, and there's no," she kept complaining about all these things. And, well, in California we have this and we have that. And the politician told her, "Well, do you enjoy your property taxes? Do you enjoy your school taxes?" And she's like, "Yeah." "Well, do you want me to have to double your taxes?" She goes, "No." Then he goes, "Then stop asking for those things you're asking for." It's like,
Well,
you can't
Yeah, and
say
if
it's
no.
they're
like
and if they're in San Francisco or originally from there, so do you want us to, put human feces on the streets so you can feel at home? Because that's what they have going on over there.
mm,
They needed an app. Well, they do have an app. I thought it was a joke, so
The
that you know
poop
what streets
poop
to avoid
control.
with that.
You
And
know,
I
that's
heard
the
that,
joke.
yeah,
They call it the poop patrol.
yeah.
mm,
And the sanitation, they have a
yeah.
whole department just for this job, for the cleanup
Oh,
of that.
yeah,
What did
because
you
it's
hear?
gross.
Did you hear that they cleaned it up?
Oh yeah,
Supposedly.
for
Now it's all
their
pretty and nice.
mhm. For Xi Jinping, is that it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Mm,
Xi Jinping. Yep.
Xi Jinping. Yeah.
No, that's nuts. So that tells you that they could have cleaned it months ago, years ago,
Hmm.
but they didn't care enough about the people to actually do it.
I was talking to someone about this and I thought, where did all the homeless people go? I'm of the mind that they actually put them someplace, like in some kind of central location. They literally relocated them physically, kept them there, maybe even gave them the drugs, allegedly, just to keep them there until the man was gone, and then they let him back,
Well, it's kind
just
of like you ever seen South Park?
yeah,
You
I
ever
mean,
you
I
ever
have an
watched the show
episode for
South Park?
everything.
Remember when they had the homeless problem in South Park that they took like a bus of music and they started sending them to California?
That's funny. I just
I was
find
like,
it hard to believe that all those people would be gone in just,
so I was saying
in
they
one
probably
shot.
sent them to they moved from San Francisco to Oakland or something.
And they also cleaned up, if I recall, I don't know if it was New York, but it was some award show, and they wanted the theme to be in the subway or something like that, and they also cleaned it up for that
There's always money for
awards.
that.
Hmm.
There's
The
always money when it
illusion.
comes to we want the Olympics. We want uh, some sort of stadium or something. They want to host an event that heads of state are coming, and it's like, oh, okay, now we can fix stuff. I mean,
Hmm.
The thing that kills me, at first I thought, why are they even receiving this man here if he's a communist anyway? Why is he here at all? It's not like they say the other countries are our allies or NATO or this. This is a dictator that they keep calling Trump a dictator, Nazi, and all those things. And here you have a real live communist dictator, and you're rolling out the red carpet. And I know it was some kind of Asian association for commerce or whatever, but how can you greet him and speak so highly of him and treat him this way? And then you criticize, Trump for being, who's nowhere near that, right? It just, the hypocrisy and the double talk and all of that, it's just so annoying.
You don't think you don't think
uh,
China and I guess our leaders are in cahoots in something?
For sure. For
Yeah.
sure.
And take over. I mean,
oh,
I'm scared they
especially
may
especially
take over
Biden.
our country.
Hmm.
That's what I feel.
Well, there was there was some joke I heard about China wanting to buy California,
Mm.
like
Mm.
how we bought Alaska from Russia.
Oh, well, that reminds me, like when you have the governor of our Arkansas who is preventing some
Yeah, she's
Chinese
preventing.
corporation from, having a factory on their land. They managed to stop them from building, but they still own it. And my question is, why are they even selling it to these foreign companies in the first place?
Oh,
She
Well,
managed
I
to
mean,
stop them
these are
from,
greedy companies.
mm, like those things shouldn't happen. People from outside, well, it's been going on for a long time. It's just new to me. So I'm just surprised when I hear about it, how they were allowed to buy the land in the first place if they're not from here.
Well, have you? It's funny you were talking about. Let me see how. Uh, let me see. I forgot how. Well, I just thought about this when you were talking about Xi Jinping and how they called Trump this and they called Trump that. And I'm trying to bring up this video. Do you know who Michael Rappaport is?
Oh my God, I saw him in the thumbnails and other people's videos, and I have
Oh,
refused to press play because I can't believe that this man is now saying he might vote for Trump.
well, that's that. Hold up, I want to play it. I hope you don't mind. I hope you guys don't mind
No, go for it. This
the
will be my time to hear
dirty
it now,
language in it.
finally. I'll brace myself.
Okay,
Because his
brace
rant,
yourself, because if this is the right clip, then Yeah. Let me press play. Let me.
People in America give more fuck about the people in Gaza than the governing body of Gaza give a fuck about the people of Gaza.
No,
That's
this is not
it.
it.
They don't give a fuck about people. They think they're
He's
martyrs.
terrible.
They think everyone.
Okay. Yeah, no, he is. But I want to play that. I want to wait. I want to play that clip
Yeah, let's
because
do it.
um, it is. It's priceless. It goes to show how bad things are under this president. That this guy. Let me see if I can't find it here. I know I have the clip on Instagram because I sent that to a couple of people
When it comes to
because I was just
celebrities, let
like,
me tell you.
that's
Uh, yeah, no. So far, I know that Cher keeps saying she wants to leave if Trump gets reelected. Now I hear Barbara Streisand is saying the same, and the latest is Taylor Swift. If he gets elected, they want to leave.
Bete. That's what I say. Go.
Taylor, I didn't know was a
Yeah.
billionaire. I learned that just the other day. I thought I was overestimating when I said she might be worth, hundreds of millions, but she reached $1 billion mark. It's amazing. I can only
Oh
name
yeah.
one of her
She's.
songs.
Let's see. I
There's
think
other
I've.
things too. There's been
Here we go.
other
Hold on.
things too. There's other times where I'm sure, like, for Dick staying Donald Trump, who I had conversations with, I might vote for that motherfucker. Oh yeah, I'll break the fucking. Oh yeah, I'll break your hearts. Let me tell you something. Things don't get straightened up in this fucking world ASAP. And I know Smoking Joe has said the right thing about Israel. But when I'm seeing motherfuckers in New York City climb in public in front of crowds of people, rip down UN flags, rip down Israeli flags, rip down American flags on Veterans Day, when the economy is the way the economy is, when I'm paying fucking mortgage rates up the wonk up, I mean, I'm getting forget a colonoscopy. You don't need to get a colonoscopy. Go buy a house. The interest rates. Go buy a car. And I know Smoking Joe has done some things for the. I know. But I'm telling you right now, go buy yourself. Go check what it's like to buy a car, buy a house. The money, the fucking chaos in this country, the chaos around the world. But I'm too far down the Dingle Man Dingle. I'm too far down the disruptive warrior rabbit hole to pull back now. The comments have been made. I said, I've had conversations with someone like, if it comes down to pig dick Donald Trump and smoking Joe Biden, I'm sorry. Donald Trump is on the top dick Donald Trump.
Okay.
But we need to keep another.
Oh, great.
Yeah, I'm here still.
I'm here.
Are you here? You still there?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Did you hear? Were you able to hear that?
Wow, I'm stunned. Where to begin?
Wait, Christina, did you hear it too? Were you able to hear it too?
Yes, I heard it. I really believe some of these billionaires and movie stars, and they have no other choice who to choose.
I
Trump
don't.
is
I don't.
it is
think
it.
it's- I don't think it's that they don't have a choice. I think that they're just
Or fed up.
they have their horse blinders on and they want to be popular, and now you're getting to the point where it's actually touching nerves and touching issues that these people, it actually bothers them now. Like, I guess this he's supposed to be like, I don't know if he's Jewish or if he's
Rappaport,
just
good
really,
question. Mm-hmm.
well, I don't know if he's Jewish. I know he comes from Canada, but I know he's
Oh, he
Canadian.
does?
But yeah, because
Oh.
I think it says that he's Canadian,
Hmm.
or at least he came from Canada.
Well, he's slow because When he
Oh yeah.
came out long before this, when he noticed the people were taking stuff out of the pharmacy and walking out with it, and he was noticing the blatant crime, and he still was
Yep.
hating on Trump. And then I don't know if it
Yep.
was before that or after the crime that he also came out to say that he felt like he was bamboozled because of the vaccinations, saying that, oh, wait a minute, you're saying we're causing the virus, that, you know, when they had come out and said that the people with who had the jab were the ones spreading it, and he felt betrayed, and he still wasn't for Trump. So now I don't know what's changed, because everything that's been going, and then he's saying it like about the flags, which is horrible that they're taking down flags, or that any other flags would be lifted here and there. But these are the left. I mean, this is what they've been doing since day one. Weren't you around during BLM? You didn't care when they were burning the flag. I mean, what they're doing now with the flag has been happening. You know, how ours is the one that they don't care
Well,
about.
you know, that's kind of how like Candace Owens got in trouble because she was talking about how um you know, like right now because of the whole Israel Hamas stuff going on, now these these Jewish endowments are removing money from all these colleges and universities. But where were they when all this, woke stuff started? They should have pulled the money from the colleges when all this shit started.
Yeah, I thought that
It's like,
too.
oh, but now because colleges are teaching, you know, these kids in colleges that Hamas, they're a legitimate organization. They're like,
Yeah, now it's getting sticky. The things that
mm-hmm.
they supported are coming back to bite them.
And that's so it's like she got in trouble for saying that because it's like you're not supposed to it's and we've had this conversation. Look, I'm pro Israel in that sense because when it comes to I've done a lot of research on Islam and it's not so it makes me anti Hamas. You know, I will always be for people. Like, it's sad when innocent people, lose their lives because people can't talk things out. People can't work things out.
Mhm.
Yeah. Hmm. The
So I
thing
mean,
is with me, because of course, nobody is going to be on the side of a terrorist organization. And the people who are pro-Palestine, if I understand correctly, looking from the outside and not being, personally invested in either side, is that they're saying that the Palestinians are not Hamas and they're getting lumped in with Hamas, and that there's innocent women and children on their side
of
too.
course. Oh, of course, but the problem is when you look at the elections, you know, they did have elections. They voted these people, they voted them in. And the problem is you look at their charter and you see what they stand for. How did these people get voted in? Because if you look at when you look at Islam as a religion and you see like you read their book, there's two sides of the book. You know how like people look at the Old Testament and the New Testament and go, oh,
Yes.
there's a lot of fire and brimstone and a vengeful God in the
Yeah.
Old Testament, and then there's like this peaceful God in the New
Hmm.
Testament. In the New Testament,
Right.
well, Islam's the reverse. When Muhammad was weak and didn't have power, he was all about peace. But then when Muhammad got into power and tasted power, then the verses changed. It wasn't about peace. Then it was about there's a verse, and I shared it on Instagram one day where they talk about subdue the people of the book, which is us and Jews, which is Christian and Jews, until they pay the jizya. The jizya is like a protection tax. It's kind of like what the mob used to do in New York. It's like, be a shame if your business gets burned down. But if you pay us this money, we won't burn down your business.
Mm.
Shakedown. Well, let me ask you this, because I understand what you're saying and I can't refute it in any way. I'm not. I have no idea. I just know that the things that they believe in are extreme to me, for sure. And I remember watching a documentary where these people were in, I think it was Indonesia, and they were on some kind of ferry, and it was overcrowded. It was too many people on the ferry. And because the majority of the people were Muslim there, the majority of the people that died were women because they're not allowed to swim, is what they said. And the American woman who survived, because she knew how, obviously mentioned that. So there's a lot of things that I get, about that they're not allowed to do. But then if we know that if they're voting, let's just pretend like you say they're voting in these people with these extreme beliefs, so they're okay with these terrorists as their leaders or whatever, people in charge. Then why were we there in the first place? When you think about the Afghanistan stuff, just to sidestep a little bit.
Go ahead.
The people there voted that in too, didn't they? And then we were there trying to modernize them or change them or have some kind of effect on their freedoms when they can run their country any way they like.
Oh, agreed. The whole thing about it was, it was after the whole 9/11. We went there because Osama bin Laden was there. He got refuge in Afghanistan.
And if I understand, that was the whole point of them being there, was trying to find him.
That's why we were there originally. Then
and
it was
then they
like
stayed after he was killed.
Then they stayed after he was killed.
For what reason?
Because
these are the things that confuse me always.
Well, the whole thing about it, the reasons why we stayed there was, then it was about their, trying to spread democracy and freedom.
There you
Same
go.
thing
That's
like with
my
Iraq. Huh?
Yeah, that's my issue. The trying to change their philosophy in any way when it is what it is. And
well, the whole thing about it is, and this is where, we may get into the woods with this, is the fact that, let's say, people don't understand that if you're looking for the most part, the Ottoman Empire, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, the Ottoman Empire ran most of the Muslim world for 1,000 years. It was a monarchy. It was a dictatorship. The Muslims, that's what they're used to.
Mm-hmm.
And the other things that people don't understand is that their religion is not just there's also, it's not just the way you live, but they also have politics in it. It's not just the way you eat, you sleep, you ritual prayers, all this stuff. It's not about, it's not only about the way you live, but it's also about the way you govern. It's also about, like, how you're supposed to set up your governments, what you're allowed to do. Like I said, people talk about how, people talk about the genocide going on in Palestine, right? But nobody talks about after the Jewish state was created in 1948. Do you know all the Jews in all the Muslim countries were kicked out? Like, after the Jewish state, they were like, no. If you look at the numbers of Jews in all these countries, it went from thousands to single digits. And just my point behind that is that in these Muslim countries, yeah, you could be Christian, you could be Jewish, but you're treated as a second class citizen. You can't own, you can't have a voice in the government. You're not allowed. But let's say, for example, over here in the West, in Israel, you look at all the United States hating people we have in Congress right now. We allow these people to come to this country, still hating this country and winning office.
Yeah, which I disagree with. I don't think you should be in any position, even not just for the president, but any position in office unless you're a citizen.
I'm not talking, they're citizens, but I'm talking about, you have people like, we've granted them citizenship, but they still hate this country. You have
Are you talking about what's her name? Omar.
Ilhan Omar and
Ilhan
Yeah.
Omar,
Rashida.
Rashida Tlaib.
Hmm.
You have these women who've come to this country, like, in her country of Somalia, and I think Rashida Tlaib is, from either
Hmm.
Gaza or the West Bank.
Hmm.
In your country, where you come from, you couldn't even be in office,
Right.
That's true.
but you're gonna come here to our country and tell us that how bad we are when you couldn't even open your mouth in your country.
Right.
That's true. You're right.
Like, what laws are you trying to change here? Because there's nothing here you can compare to where you came from
But this is the whole
that
thing.
you
Yeah.
say are
If
bad.
you put the laws from
Hmm.
what their Sharia law, if you put
Hmm.
that here, then they're gonna get kicked out of Congress, because guess
Hmm.
what? If you have
Right.
Sharia, they're gonna go back to the kitchen.
Right. Right.
They're
Yeah,
gonna
I
go back to
agree.
covering their faces.
Hmm. Well, it's the thing too about how we're involved in what's going on in other places, and then also people from other places come here, and then they want us to change, to bend over backwards to accommodate their own culture or background or wherever they came from. And it's another thing that I remember noticing with people too is that they get really angry when you talk about religion or Christianity or anything like that in the schools or anything traditional, even if it's not religious, because it's traditional. But if it's a Muslim or some other person from another place, well, we have to respect their views and make sure that we got to hold them with like baby hands because we can't offend them because it's their culture and their beliefs, when their beliefs are almost, kind of like in line with at least some of the traditional stuff, but anything but,
Well, this is the whole
Christianity is
thing.
okay.
We don't. You had all these immigrants that used to come to this country that would assimilate to our
Mhm.
culture.
Mhm.
We don't expect these immigrants anymore to come to the country and assimilate.
I know
No,
people that have tried
there's
or
no
have.
such thing
I'm
anymore.
sorry.
What
No,
happened, Christina?
There's no such thing as assimilating.
No.
no.
Like my grandmother came to Dallas. Grandmother. So my mother's mom came to Dallas in 1940, and she assimilated. She spoke English. She read the newspaper. She didn't become a U.S. citizen. She stayed as a resident, but she
Mm.
assimilated, and she came here legally. She was lucky to come here. She came. She didn't come, through the border. Americans brought her over here
Mhm.
to work for them. She was from Mexico City. So
That
my
reminds me
grandma.
of someone that told me that their ancestry is Irish, and he gave me a story, and it was interesting to me to know that even though they were immigrants from Ireland that were Catholic, they couldn't in Ireland they couldn't stand the Irish Protestants. They were like mortal enemies or something. So he said
Yes.
his grandmother, who was Catholic, met a Irish Protestant in some organization in America that was called, like, let's say the Daughters of Irish or the Sons of Irish, something like that. And they met and they
Yeah.
bonded and they became friends until they died because they were happy to be American. They left all that behind. Whatever was going on in Ireland in their country or whatever, that they didn't like each other. They were American here and they had that in common.
Yeah, I really
Hmm.
believe early people today do not.
Have that
They don't. They
Mhm.
don't take. Like my
outlook.
grandmother. She don't.
Mhm.
She was honored to be here,
Mhm.
to be in America, to be in America. She
Well, the
respected
people
her.
born here are not honored to be in America, which I
No,
realized. I mean, it
no,
was
they're
hard
not.
to see, hard to
Mhm.
realize this. When I noticed people were rolling their eyes or saying things about Independence Day or July the 4th or Mount Rushmore, you name it, and anything that had to do with America, it was like boo-hoo. And then also the flags, the people would be offended by our flag. And I'm thinking, what is
Hmm.
going on? And that's
That's
people
why.
born here.
No, I,
Didn't they,
I
didn't they,
agree.
didn't they have a law back in the, I don't know, the 50s or 60s? If you burn the flag, you can go to jail for that.
I
Yeah.
thought so too. I seen it burn more than I care to see ever
But
I
what
since the
happened
know.
was,
riot.
they sued to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court said that that's covered under free speech.
Oh.
The only way you could get arrested now is if it's a fire hazard.
Mm. Wow. I had no idea.
Yeah. No, I was gonna say that's why I like Vivek, his idea about saying that, when you're 18 and you're
Yes.
set to become
Yeah.
an adult and you're set to vote, that
Mhm.
you have to take the same test as a citizen, as someone applying to be a citizen to be able to vote.
Yeah.
Because if you don't
True.
know those basic facts about our country, then there's no way you should be able to vote.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I know
Yeah.
that that'll piss people off because they'll be like, "Oh, well, you're making it harder for people to vote." Yes, because I don't want idiots who don't know nothing about the issues going on to be voting.
That's true.
I saw a special about San Francisco politics, and believe it or not, that channel was demonetized. And it's not crazy, conspiratorial type of thing. All they did was talk about their local policies in San Francisco, and they would have people on to talk about that, and they were just demonetized.
Of course,
Anyway, it was called California Insider.
they should have
So
went to
they had,
Rumble.
yeah, they should. They had someone on saying that in his day, I don't know if this was the 70s or the 60s or how far back it went. And they didn't go that back too far, but there was some kind of examination requirement before you could run for office or before you could be elected for a local position. And once they did away with these, I guess, placements or entrance exams or whatever they called it, things started really going downhill because then you had people in there who, like you said, I don't know anything about what's going on, and they get the position.
Hmm.
And the same should apply to voting. But I'm speaking about immigrants now that you mentioned Vivek. I saw a highlight where I think Donna Brazil was on Bill Maher, and she
Uh-huh.
was talking about Vivek like not pronouncing his last name properly and not caring. And I don't know if it was deliberate or
Of course,
not.
it was deliberate.
And then she says, he needs to get lost. He needs to get out of here. He needs to this. He needs to that. And all I'm thinking is, what do you, first of all, aside from the fact that she didn't want to pronounce his name properly, which we could never get away with on our side because they'd call you a xenophobe and all these other names.
Uh-huh.
What do you care who's running on the Republican side? That's not your party anyway. You have to worry about your people.
Hmm.
What does
Well,
it
'cause she's
matter?
terrified. Because they're terrified. They're terrified of someone like Vivek winning. If he wins the nomination, they
Mm,
can't play the racist card.
true. You're right. Yeah, you're right.
So it's like they would hate for him to one.
Mhm.
They can't. The biggest
Get
attack they would
lost
have
because
is
you're
that
not
he's
white.
young. That's the biggest attack they would have on him is that he's young.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. For
He's
sure.
young and inexperienced. So guess what? At least he has a brain, unlike our current president.
But I just love how they disparage people and talk, and they're condescending and their racism comes out and it's okay.
Oh,
Because I remember when there was some event, I think it was the RNC, and Melania came and gave her speech. Bette Midler had tweeted about how horrible it was listening to her because of her thick accent. Even though Bette
mhm.
Midler's not in politics, but it's just funny how they like to diss people from other
Of
countries or how
course,
they speak, when they're not on the
of
Democrat
course. The
side.
the left, the left. It's a what is it? Confession through projection. Because
Mhm.
the reason why they stress so much about race is because most of them are racist in their hearts.
Mhm. Yeah,
Because
which
us
is
on the right, I don't give a shit who you are. I don't give a shit you're black, white, gay, straight, trans. A trans person just sold me my new phone today. Did I go, oh my God, give me another person because she's trans? No. I said, okay, thanks. I want my new phone. Oh, hey, yeah. Had a nice conversation with it because I
Mhm.
think it was male to female.
The funny thing about that, male to female, oh my God, let's not even go down the trans path. Woo,
Well, we just use it as an example. Like they're like,
Well, actually,
but these same people who are like, a trans woman's a woman, but in private
mhm,
they're like, hell no. And
mhm,
in private
my
they're probably like, hell no.
the other weekend, my daughter, she's in high school,
Uh huh.
and she was going to go up against a trans girl,
Uh huh.
and the coach said her coach had to forfeit her because she wouldn't do it. I mean, he wouldn't let her, and my daughter looked like she was frightened because Just couldn't do it.
Well,
She was
what was it? That happened in two sports. That happened in pool, in billiards, however you want to say it. There was a championship in Great Britain, and there was a trans female and a female,
Mhm.
and the female was like, "Nope, thank you, I'm out.
Yeah, I
I'm not
saw
playing
that.
the
I did
trans
see
person."
that. Hmm.
And it happened also in some sort of fighting event. I don't know. I don't
That
know
needs
all
to
the
happen
details.
more.
It does. That's what
Mhm.
that's what women need to do. If they make it, you know, don't fight these people. Don't play whatever sport it is. Don't play
Mhm.
them, because if nobody plays them, then
If
eventually,
nobody plays them, by default, they will have their trans division, which they don't want anyway. Because
no.
if all the real women were to quit, they would have to compete with only other trans people, and they don't want that.
Oh yeah. Oh,
no,
that they have to complete with men.
my
Hmm.
22. So my kids, they went to private school. I have 4 kids, and they went to private school, and my 3 older ones are in their 20s. But my son was with me, and he's like, "Oh my god," because on
Hmm.
the other team, that same trans fought a girl, and
Mm.
she cried. She cried, and my son like, "I can't believe they let." I think
Yeah.
reality hit my kids, my 20 my
Hmm.
22-year
Hmm.
old. Like, I can't believe it. They
Hmm.
actually let that happen. And my son's like, "You see his back? You see his back? His back is
Hmm.
big, and he has
Hmm.
broad shoulders. I mean, he hurt the little girl. He hurt the girl in wrestling. It was a wrestling match."
This is a problem because another thing, going back to the Texas comment that I was having with you before we went live, that
Uh-huh.
they told me to stay away from Texas. When they were sending me the information and I was saying, I don't think this is, correct. I think they're missing information. Where are you getting your news from? And then they send me to the website on Instagram where they were getting their information from. And the first
Uh-huh.
thing I see is that the person on that website has pronouns.
Uh,
So I said, okay,
Um,
right off the bat, I'm dismissing this because
yep.
anything with pronouns is garbage.
Yes.
And
right.
that my family member, like, why? What is the big deal? What's wrong with pronouns? I said, everything. Everything
Yep.
is wrong with pronouns. This is the beginning of everything that comes behind that. And if you participate in this pronoun thing and you go along with it and you support it and you think it's harmless, you're mistaken, because it's not. It's like the gateway to all the other nonsense that goes on. And
Yep.
another thing that I hear also is, well, what do you care? What do you care about the trans? You know, when I think about it, I don't have a little girl. My son is already big enough to know that boys are boys and girls are girls. So he's never going to fall into this nonsense, thankfully. Because you always worry that no matter what you teach them, they're going to learn something else out there. But we've already passed that
Yeah.
point where no one's going to
Well,
indoctrinate my kid.
Mm,
So he already knows what's what.
uh,
And I don't have a daughter that's going to have to compete with men anywhere. And I'm
uh-huh.
grown already. So when you think about it, yeah, what do I care? But I do care because um, grown women have to share, locker rooms in a gym, even if they're not playing any sports. They
mm,
have men in homeless shelters where women go even for domestic abuse, that they're fleeing from some man who, they're in danger from. And now they have to share, they have to be in this homeless shelter with men saying that they're women. They also I'm not going to commit a crime anytime soon that I know, but if you did go to jail, you might be housed with a man, and all these things. Well, then they affect me as a woman. Um, so that's why I care. And another thing too is that if people don't speak up about it and they just go along with all of this stuff, you're going to have a generation of children that are never going to be normal. Um, they have, irreversible damage. And these are the people that our children are going to come in contact with. So now I have to worry when my son finally gets to be of an age where he's in the dating world that he won't know if
mm,
a woman's really a woman, because they let you change your birth certificate too. So there's no proof, there's no
mhm.
evidence that you were born what you were born. It's just, it affects us
Yeah.
all in some way, even if you don't think it's
Uh,
your problem right now. And if I wasn't
well,
a
I have
parent,
two.
maybe I wouldn't think about it at all. But
It's like I have a
again, I'm still a
6-year-old, so
woman.
I'm terrified.
Yeah.
of those. I'm
And I used to
terrified
think
of
that this was more of like a trans woman phenomenon. Like everywhere I turn around, there's men claiming to be women. But on the flip side, there's a bunch of girls that are, wanting to be boys and getting mastectomies. So I don't think that either side has is in the lead. I think they're both different and bad in the same
I think they
way.
both have their complication and issues when it comes
Mhm.
to the transition. I think
Mhm.
um it's like I think it's something that they shouldn't be supporting it with children. That's something that a choice you should make as an adult.
And the
It's a
double-edged
life.
sword is that when we say we want parental rights, they say they want parental rights too when it comes to transitioning their children. So it's a sticky thing. But I'm of the mind that it shouldn't even be a procedure that can even be done. So you take it out of the parents on both sides. Take it out of their control completely
Well, yeah,
because
that's what I'm
they
saying. It's
wouldn't
not
allow it.
something. That's what I'm saying. That's something where it's there's no medical treatment until they're
Right.
an adult.
Right.
So no
Because these
hormone
parents are
treatment.
behind it, a lot of
What
them,
happened?
and it's the parents are behind it. It's so sad to think that I'm worried about a social worker, a doctor, a teacher, an outside
Hmm.
influence getting in my kid's brain. It had never occurred to me that the parents were taking these kids to get these procedures done, like the gender clinic, and that they were happy about it and telling them, that they are this, that they want to be. I thought, oh my, you can't save them from their own parents. And in this case, they don't consider it abuse. They only consider it abuse when you want to, not teach them about gender affirming care.
Hmm.
Those are the parents that they hate.
Yeah, they hate parents like me because I'm like, I fight that stuff. I remember I went to a school board meeting and was fighting about CRT and SEL.
Which a lot of
Hmm.
people don't even know what any of that means or what it stands for, and how it's all part of the same, because the gender stuff is
It's
under the
Well,
CRT
yeah,
umbrella.
and the gender stuff because it's all Marxism. It's all
Hmm.
neo Marxism.
Hmm.
You know how can they? As long as you have a strong family, you can't have
Hmm.
Marxism.
But it's sad that the parents are the ones that plant the seed into many of these children, because you will never convince me that a 2-year-old or toddler or even in
Yeah,
kindergarten, they know that
you
what they want
can't.
to be. The parents are doing it, because my son, when he was little, and I always tell this story because it's, I can relate in that way. I didn't give him a haircut until he was 4. So he had a man bun, but he was a baby boy. But that was his baby curls. I wasn't ready to cut them. It was a baby look to me. It wasn't because I wanted a daughter or thought I had a girl. He didn't think he was a girl. Nobody thought he was a girl. It was just his baby
What's
hair.
up with some women where they don't want to cut their boys' hair?
No, I didn't want to
I,
cut it. It was just so beautiful and curly and beautiful. It was like he was like my little Samson. But people would stop me in the street and they would be like, "When is your mommy gonna get you a haircut?" Or they would look at him and say, "Don't you want a haircut?" They would just talk to him like
I
I
remember my
wasn't
friend.
there.
Her son had straight black hair,
Mm.
and it was like almost up to his butt.
Mm.
And it was like finally, I think he finally decided to cut it. It was like, Ma, we need to cut my hair.
Exactly. And if he wanted it cut, I would have cut it immediately, because I wasn't doing it for me. I just thought it was, like baby hair, cute, not a gender thing. But he would sometimes he would get into, like kids, they get into things they're not supposed to get into. He would get into my accessories and he would see all my earrings and my bracelets, and it was just clanky toys to him. He doesn't know what it means.
Of
And
course.
if I let him put on nail polish, I'm sure he would do that too, because he thinks it's paint. He doesn't think it's a girl thing or boy thing. It's just something to do. But did I lay
No, of
out
course.
glitter backpacks on the bed for him to choose to wear? No. They would be like maybe 5 t-shirts, 5 basketball shorts, and a bunch of sneakers. You pick from this. I'm not giving him a whole bunch of options for him, because maybe he would pick it not knowing, right? And then they say that this means he knows he was a girl. No, you put those choices in front of him and you egg it on. And if you notice, these gender neutral people who say that they believe in non-binary, they always make the room look like a princess for the boy, right?
Yep.
The girls
Of
can't
course.
be princesses. They have to be tough and strong, which I like. I'm down with that. But the boys have to be, with the ball gowns and all of this, and the unicorns and the.
Yes, it's to emasculate the boys,
Mhm.
emasculate men.
We're
You
just
can't.
swapping places. That's all we're
Well,
doing.
it's not even swapping places. It's just about it's about feminizing men. Weak men, what is it? Weak men make for bad times. Bad times make strong men.
And the
Right?
cycle goes
Strong
on.
men make good times, and then good times make weak men.
And the funny thing is, no matter how independent a woman is, no matter how much she makes and closes that gender gap they keep talking about that don't really exist,
No, it doesn't.
we could be as strong as we want to be in any way, shape, or form, but we're not going to get nowhere if the men are weak because we can't be as strong as the men need to be.
No, I mean, I was just talking about this with my son's nurse. I said, men and women, we're not meant to compete with each other. We're meant to complement each other. Where
Right.
where we lack, you guys pick up. Where you guys lack, we pick up.
We can't replace the men and the things that we need the men to do. And for sure, we know the men can't have the babies, but they can have periods. Um, it's just, not going to work
Oh,
out.
that was a good one.
Mhm.
But we're running about an hour, so I'm gonna I'm gonna end it here because I'm also starting to get tired. Even though I'm having a good time, I'm looking forward to this long weekend.
Yeah.
So any final thoughts where you want people to because you're mainly on Instagram, right? You don't really do Twitter, right?
No, I'm on Twitter, but I don't use it that much. I just even though now they're under new management, I just never really got into it even before that. I
Mhm.
get lost in the threads and I don't know.
Your
I
ADD,
Well,
do.
your
I'm
ADD
on
takes
Twitter. I
control of
got
you
back
on,
on.
on Twitter.
I'm on Twitter, yeah. I just got
No,
on
no, no,
again.
no. I said Sonia that her ADD takes control of her on Twitter.
Oh,
Yeah, I try to follow a thread and I end up somewhere else. But do you guys know about Twitter circles? Have you done that? Or because I know people go live on there a lot and they have panels, but
yeah,
I
Actually,
I got on those. I've
this here is
listened.
live on Twitter right now.
okay.
I
Are
put it.
you on Instagram, Christina, at all?
Yes, ma'am. I'm on Instagram.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I'll look for you. You put the links or something for me so I can get,
Okay.
and
You can,
I'll just put my link tree is the easiest way. I'll put that in the chat.
and
Okay.
you're still with Luca, right, Christina?
Well, I wanted to correct you in the beginning. I am not with Luca.
Oh,
I had to part ways because just I'm I'm focusing on my well, let's back up here. I'm a part of a campaign.
uh,
One of the guys out here. Sorry, I'm part of Trey Penny's campaign,
oh, okay,
helping him out. Yeah, and of course, I'll be running for school board in 2025. So
okay,
just focusing on myself and getting my feet wet, getting more experience in the political aspect best I can.
okay. Well, that you,
You're running
I,
for a school board position in your local
Y-
school board?
yes, ma'am. Yes, I am.
mhm.
Oh,
Well,
okay.
there's only
So
one.
I'll be
Uh,
also I think in December. I think the first week of December I'll be talking my third time at a school board about a book I found. So
mhm.
I just keep doing
Okay.
that over and over.
Hey, you gotta.
Mm.
Let me just give you one slight advice. You gotta be a little more loud and assertive. You gotta be more Puerto Rican.
All that Puerto Rican, Mexican.
No, I know that. No, I was joking because Sonia's Puerto Rican too. So we're
Oh,
we tend, we're known for being loud.
yes, I know.
I put my link tree in the comments on the YouTube side. I actually opened the YouTube tab, but I don't know if you see it. I'm just
I
letting you know. If
don't.
not, I'll send it on the Instagram and you could put it in for me.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, I don't see it.
Okay.
Didn't come up on my feed here.
Okay, I put it in the Instagram so you can because that link connects me to. No, that link will get you to all the places that I'm on in one place.
Yeah, what you guys could find each other on my page. Like Christina, you could follow. She goes. It's Sonia's scrapbook. You could follow. You could find her
Okay.
on my Instagram.
On Instagram? Okay.
On like people I'm following.
Okay.
And yep. So well, there we go. We hit the hour mark. It's all right. Well, it was a nice
Well,
chatting.
look, whenever you don't have a guest for your show and you just want to talk about hot topics and current events and I'm free, I'm here for you.
Same here.
And
Same
Christina,
here.
I mean, once you get your feet wet, or if you need, you guys want to, talk online about, the campaign and stuff, I'm down with that. That's
Oh
I've
yeah, that would be great if you guys could come to my channel too, and we could do some things.
yeah.
That sounds great.
And I'll have
Yeah.
a list of topics, and I'll show you clips and things, and we'll react to it.
Let's go for it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm down.
I like that.
All right. Well, everyone, or you ladies, like I said, thank you for coming on, and I think I'm trying to get on. Well, I'm trying to line up a guest for the next couple of weeks before Christmas comes around. I not sure if I'm gonna have. I know my Monday show would fall on Christmas, so I doubt I'm gonna have anything on Christmas. If I have anything on Christmas, it'll literally probably just be like it'll be probably honestly it'll be a religious more thing. It'll probably go more into like the Bible stuff than talking about anything political, because I like to talk about stuff like that too.
Oh, and another thing I'm going to try to figure out on the back end is if we ever do another live together, I think we could do it on all of our channels at the same time, like across.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Oh really? Oh, if you figure
Yeah.
that out, let me know.
Yep.
The only thing is,
I'll look into it.
it can't show on Instagram, because StreamYard doesn't do Instagram.
No. But I just mean like I'll be live on my channel
Yeah.
with you, and you'll be on yours. And if Christina's on YouTube too.
Yes, I am.
Oh,
I started
okay.
it. I just start playing with my YouTube.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Great. So there we go.
Yeah.
All right. Well, happy holidays and thank you.
Yep. Have a happy Thanksgiving, everyone, and well, maybe we'll see if we do something else before Christmas comes around. I want to see if I do like a pre-recorded show that does like a release. So, because I'll be traveling, so I want to do it on, kind of release it while I'm traveling.
Oh, like a premiere.
Premiere. There you go. That's
that would be
I'll
nice.
pre-record it and do a premiere on my normal live time.
Okay.
Okay.
All
like
right.
All right.
Okay. Bye. Thanks
all right.
again.
Bye, everyone. Have a
you.
good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Bye.
Night.